Hey up troops, it's A Littleton here again with another video, and we're here again in the shooting range. I'll do the testing so you don't have to. This time we're going to be looking at the Year 7 Season 3 changes compared to what it used to be like on the live build as it is now, which is Year 7 Season 2. We're going to compare some weapons and see what the recoil changes look like. Now firstly, let me just apologise. I hate clickbaity thumbnails on YouTube. I know it's meta to do a clickbait thumbnail. When you look at the recoil patterns on the thumbnail, the old one was like, oh, it's like this, and the new one's like this. It's not like that. It is different, but it's not like that. So apologies for doing a clickbaity thumbnail. So the good news is on this video is I'm actually not going to say much for once in my life, which will be an absolute blessing to most of you because my accent is absolutely awful. However, what I'm going to do is use my absolutely insane editing skills. They're not very insane at all. But try and put the current build, so what we know is Year 7 Season 2, against Year 7 Season 3 on the test server, and we'll compare the two together and see what it looks like. Now what I haven't mentioned in this video is suppressors. It's probably worth doing this test again, and maybe it's something else I'll do. I'll do the testing so you don't have to. Is include suppressors as well. Would there be no damage drop off in Year 7 Season 3? Depending on the recoil of the gun, let's just say the MP5 with Malusi, there's very little recoil on that gun. By putting a suppressor on there instead of a flash hider, it's almost a no-brainer on low recoil guns for the coming season because there's no recoil to control anyway, so the flash hider is pretty much useless. So it's probably worth doing another test for that, and maybe that'll be another video later down the line. But anyway, enough talking while sat in a holographic site. Let's get stuck into it. So just before we get into the comparison, I just want to use this graph to sort of visualize what's going to change next season. Just a quick point of note, this is PC only. PC and console recoil has been separated now, so the console system will follow a similar style, although it will be slightly different. So it won't be a million miles away, but this is PC only for now. So as you can see there, the old system was the yellow line. This is vertical recoil. So once you started firing one round, the vertical recoil didn't increase and didn't get any worse the entirety of 30 rounds. This went on forever as well. If this went on longer than 30 rounds, it would stay exactly the same. The new system is slightly different. So you're going to see an increase on ARs and SMGs. Hopefully you can see my mouse flying about the screen here. On ARs and SMGs, you're going to see a difference here, which is about shot 17, shot 18. You're going to see an increase in vertical recoil. You're going to see an increase again around shot 25, shot 26. With LMGs, it's even worse or even harder, shall we say. Where you're going to see an increase around shot 14, shot 15, and again around shot 22, give or take. So LMGs have definitely had a nerf in terms of vertical recoil, but all guns now will get more difficult to control vertically the more bullets that you fire. And this graph is exactly the same thing, but on the horizontal side of things. So you can see here that horizontal recoil did used to increase the more bullets that you fired. However, it's now been increased across all weapons, including LMGs. You can see here that around shot 5, horizontal recoil goes up for LMGs. And I can tell you through testing, as you'll probably see in this video, the horizontal recoil for LMGs is a lot higher than what it is for ARs. I don't think, and SMGs as well, I don't think this graph is a sort of true reflection of how much more horizontal recoil LMGs have than the other weapons. This only shows like a slight difference. In my opinion, the black line should be like up here. I think there's a big difference in terms of horizontal recoil. And that's always the tough thing, right? Because with vertical recoil, you just pull down more on your analog stick or you pull down more on your mouse. With horizontal recoil, you can't really predict that. You can't really... I mean, yes, if it's always going to the left, you can pull down and to the right, but it's a lot more difficult to predict with horizontal recoil. This is another graph that just demonstrates next season horizontal recoil is going to be increased as well across all weapons. So there we have it. There's a recoil comparison from Year 7 Season 2 on the current live build to Year 7 Season 3 on the test server, which will become the live build at some point next week. There's certain weapons which have definitely had a buff. Zofia's AR is one of those for sure. I feel like Jager and Ash have both had a buff on the R4C on the 416 as well. And there's a definite change to LMGs. LMGs are about, in my opinion, about 30% worse than they were, and that's Zofia and Fink are affected mainly. I think we're all over the moon that LMGs have finally had a nerf, except for those absolute gremlin Finker mains who just hold mouse 1, R2 or RT and hope for the best. And they're going to have to learn how to use a different gun for next season because the recoil is much more difficult to control. For those of you that don't know, I also stream on Twitch 4 days a week, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday from 8 PM UK time. Now, there's been a load of people from YouTube come over and say hello. If you're not one of them, the name's below. It's exactly the same as YouTube. The username's the same on Twitch. Come over and say hello and get involved. Good to have you over there as well. Cheers. Other than that, that pretty much wraps it up for this one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.